You know, YouTube, something occurred to me. There's Christmas specials, Halloween specials, and Valentine's specials, but hardly anybody does St. Patrick's. Speaking as an Irishman myself, by blood, I find this quite the injustice.
Up with this, I will not put.
My people have a centuries-long history of being oppressed, stepped on, and thumbed the nose at. Meanwhile, the Emerald Isle has birthed some of the most seminal and celebrated artists, poets, and writers throughout history. But do we get the recognition we deserve? Fuck no! All we have is a holiday where every non-Mick decides to appropriate our culture. Though to be fair, most of our culture involves drinking and potato eating. So, to correct this egregious error on YouTube, I decided that I would make a St. Paddy special. So get your beer, your whiskey, whatever's your poison, get some fish and chips, and sit down and watch one of my favorite movies of all time, The BOONDOCK SAINTS!
Shepherds we shall be, for thee, my lord, for thee. Power hath descended forth from thy hand, our feet may swiftly carry out thy command. So we shall flow a river forth to thee, and teeming with souls shall it ever be. Nomine Patri et Filii, Spiritus Sancti.
You got two Irish brothers, Connor and Murphy McManus, played by Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus respectively. By the way, this is pre-Walking Dead Norman Reedus. One day after a St. Paddy's scuffle with the Russian mafia, you know, typical stuff, Connor and Murphy find themselves on the business end of a Russian mobster's pistol, and of course kill them. Totally in self-defense, by the way. But because they're two working-class Joes who put down a bad guy, they're treated as heroes by the city. And in the dark of the night, they are sent a vision from the heavens and given a new purpose in life.
So that which is good may flourish.
So they decide to become vigilantes and kill bad guys. You know, two Irish Punishers, basically. Now, if that premise does not sound boss to you, I gotta ask you, what the hell is wrong with you, man? That is awesome.
We're good. Yes, we are.
However, there is an elephant in the room, and that it's Boondock Saints is a flawed movie. Not necessarily due to its ridiculous leaps in logic, because that's what you expect in an action movie, but it's more in technical areas that show one of two things: lack of expertise or lack of money. In case you can't tell, this movie was kind of made on the cheap. So what technical areas does it kind of screw up in? Well, for one, there's an overuse of slow motion. There's Willem Dafoe's character being gay when it has no relevance to the plot.
I just wanted to cuddle. Cuddle? What a fag.
And of course, amateur editing. There are parts of this movie that look like the editing was done by somebody who cut their teeth putting together music videos instead of films. Some of these edits look like they would be better suited into a music video than an actual movie. The best example of the quality of editing in this movie I think can be best summed up in this one scene. Now just watch. We saw Smecker, Willem Dafoe's character. In the background we see Rocco, a character who is friends with Connor and Murphy. And it all slows down on him, calling attention to him. Taken out of context, it seems innocuous enough. No big deal, right? But later on in the movie, this scene will be called back to, and that's where the mistake becomes visible. Now, later on during the callback, it makes sense to slow it down because that shows us that Smecker is putting the information together in his head. But here, it doesn't. Why? Because Rocco is already known to us because we already met him in the beginning of the movie. We already know who Rocco is, so why call attention to his presence? It would have just made more sense to just let him slip through in the background. That is just one example of the many editing mistakes in this movie. And of course, even though I love this movie, I am going to have to admit it. This movie is kind of stupid. A lot of what helps ameliorate the fact that the movie is really stupid is that the movie has a sense of humor about itself. And a lot of what helps that sense of humor come through is Sean Patrick Flannery, Norman Reedus, and Willem Dafoe. Honestly, their acting helps salvage a lot of dialogue and scenes that in lesser actors' hands would be very cringeworthy.
Pathetic little dick. And I'll dip my nuts in marinara sauce, just so the fat bastards can get a taste of home while they're at it. Fuck it. I'm doing it. It is... Oh my God!
fucking happened?
Is it dead?
In fact, Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus' chemistry alone is reason enough to watch the movie. These two just work so well together, you actually believe that they're brothers.
Is that right, Rambo?
Alright, get your stupid fucking robe.
I'll get my stupid robe. I'll get it.
And of course, their Irish accents are at least semi-plausible, like you kind of believe it, right?
You don't have to be hard asses, do you?
Yeah, it's St. Paddy's Day. Everyone's Irish tonight.
I also got to give massive props to the cinematographers on this movie. I don't know how they pulled it off, but there are shots in this movie that actually look really cool. All made possible with good framing, actor placing, prop placing, camera angles. There are just going to be images throughout this that are going to be burned into your skull once you've seen them. And even though, yes, the movie's kind of stupid, it does at least try to pose a hard moral question, and that's basically around capital punishment. Is it just to kill evil people? And to the film's credit, it also doesn't pretend that it has the answer, and that can be plainly seen in the movie's coda.
Somebody can just go out, get a gun, and shoot somebody because they feel that they're doing some good in the world?
No comment.
Making the world a safer place.
Are you kidding?
They're killing for good, and they're only killing the people who kill.
Killing
for good? Listen to yourself.
This is going to create something so much worse.
I don't think so at all.
Well, I think you're just naive then.
I love the Saints, man. They're doing a great job. Keep it going, man. Get these murderers off the streets.
They're not out there just killing for fame.
They just want to be famous.
They should be in every major city.
Every major city.
I'll sum this all up by saying that if you haven't seen the Boondock Saints yet, you fucking need to. It's heavily flawed. It's undoubtedly heavily flawed, but you know what? It's that rare kind of film that manages to succeed in spite of its flaws. And I'm not talking like it's so bad it's good. It's actually got enough good qualities to make you overlook its shortcomings. It's not perfect, and you know what? Maybe it doesn't want to be, and that's how I like it. So, go check out the Boondock Saints, and give the sequel a shot. It's pretty good too, and you know what? There's talk of a third one in the works. So, check it out. Get a pint of gat and get locked. Happy St. Patrick's Day.